I'm so happy I don't have to deal with them and be fake anymore.
My ideal 3 is myself, Zach, and Lydia.
I'm like pretty confident that everyone would take me.
I have a couple different ideal final 3s.
I don't know. It's probably going to be a game time decision.
Alright, congratulations guys. As you know, as you can see, it is light out. We have made it to the 9th hour. Woo! Lydia, show Lydia. How are you feeling?
I'm sorry, I feel great. I feel fantastic. I'm wide awake.
Zach, some moments of almost falling asleep there in the hour 8.
Yeah. I mean, the first 2 hours were good. The middle hours were fun. Like around hours 7 through 8, that's when the bad times came. It was a little shaky. I thought I was gonna fall a lot, but now that the sun's up, I feel more perked up. I'm ready.
Madison, since the sun is up, however, you do not know when the challenge might be if you guys make it there. Do you guys think you're just going way out into the challenge?
I'm not really thinking about the challenge, though. I think if the challenge came, I would be okay. I'm not going anywhere, so, yeah.
What do you think this says about this season as well as the final 4 you find yourself in?
I think we all really truly want this at this point. I think that's really the only reason anyone would be standing in the shock quadrangle for 9 hours. Because, you know, I would have loved to get some sleep, but that just didn't happen tonight.
Alright, that said, we will start with our conversations. I'll take this, thank you.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I know you're not going anywhere. That's all I have to say. I don't think so either. Nothing we can say to Madison keeps happening. She probably said the same thing. She's like, I'm not going anywhere. I can do this all day. I'm fine. Like, yeah, sure, you're fine. You're fucking lying. I've been around her and seen her lie to other people, and now she's doing the lie face. Yeah. The blank, cold. Yeah. She's not fine.
Yeah, and I feel like we really can't make any plans until we know who wins this.
To recap what just happened, Zach was on the ground like this, looking at his stick, fingers touching it. It almost slipped me.
It's unnaturally out.
Yep. That said, Zach, since you have touched the other side of the handle with your other hand, you are eliminated from this challenge. That recount as an immediate disqualification. His 2 hands were touching the shovel, which is one of the rules. That said, we are down to the final 3. Lydia, Sabrina, Madison.
Neither of you, we've been together for the past few weeks, and I still know where my mind's at. I want to go to that final 3 with you guys, and now we can. So, you guys are cool with that. I'm totally comfortable with not doing individual talks. Yeah? Alright. Well then, in that case...
Sabrina, you have decided to back out. A total of 9 hours and 50 minutes in. Thank you. That said, Madison, Lydia, you're the final 2 remaining. Alright, we are officially 11 hours and 30 minutes in. Madison, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Yeah, nothing's really changed. I think the sun helps. I'm no longer cold. So obviously, like, there's some fatigue, but I'm determined, and so is Lydia. So
Lydia, same thoughts?
yeah, I'm just hungry.
I'm just holding up with the challenge. Alright, that said, with 11:30 in this game, I'm proud of both of you. Just have to wait 30 more minutes. Madison, Lydia, it has been 12 grueling hours. It is now bright and sunny. So I'm proud of both of you guys to make it this far. That said, we still have to have a winner for this immunity challenge. One of you will guarantee your spot in the final 3, where the power moves to the jury and they will select the winner of this game. Since you guys both stayed up and it deadlocked at 12 hours, we have this final challenge for you guys where one person will take away the winner. For this challenge, there will be 6 stations. I will read aloud a story you will have to memorize. At these 6 stations, there's a question. Once you get all 6 correct, you will move on to word puzzle. The word puzzle is a 4-word phrase. The first word is A. First word is A. It's pertaining to this game. For the final time, Unity is back up for grabs, and here is the story. Listen closely. Welcome to the Syrvivor Marathon, announcers Mel and Luke echoed, wearing their matching blue suits. It was a brisk autumn day around November 11th. Owen was excited because he ran a mile run in high school and finished with a time of 5:23. At the marathon, he ran into Lindsay, who he played Syrvivor Syracuse with. Lindsay finished with a high school time of 6:01, but also finished with an injury of a high ankle sprain of her right ankle. To her rescue, paramedic Carl came to wrap up her ankle. He wore a yellow and dark blue rescue squad uniform and gently wrapped Lindsay's ankle in red tape. Meanwhile, Joe was currently in the lead in the marathon, but he avoided tragedy when he nearly slipped on a watermelon. This watermelon stand was run by Kevin, where he sold watermelon and peaches. This was Kevin's 72nd year running the stand for the marathon. His partner in crime, Cassidy, made a second stand that sold strawberry frozen yogurt. While the marathon was running, Holly was the biggest buyer of frozen yogurt, paying a whopping $182 on Froyo for the runners. Once the runners finished their frozen yogurt with the fans, at the end of it, Ryan Baker finished with the gold and won an all-expenses-paid trip to Belize. At the end of the race, Jason exclaimed that he couldn't wait for next year for the 83rd ever Syrvivor Marathon. Lydia and Madison, that is the story. Survivors ready? Begin. Remember, it has something to do with the season you're playing with in this year. For 12 hours, it comes down to a word puzzle. has it. Lydia, say it. Say it.
Final 3.
Lydia wins immunity. A final 3 end. After a total of 12 hours and 40 minutes, an original challenge of holding up shovels through the night is decided with a word puzzle. A final 3 end. With that said, Lydia, congratulations. You will be in that said final 3 end. You are immune, guaranteeing your spot in the final 3. Guaranteeing your spot to talk to the jury and a 1 in 3 chance of winning this game. Thank you. Madison, that means you join Zach and Sabrina, who are vulnerable for this vote. Tribal Council on Wednesday, where 3 out of the 4 of you will be vying for the jury's votes. That's all I have for you guys. I hope you have a good rest and family.
I feel like a boss bitch right now. I'm just glad I didn't stay up for literally over 24 hours, 12 of which were spent standing in a circle holding a freaking shovel to lose. I just knew I needed to get to the challenge because I knew I would win the challenge. Yeah, I feel bad for Madison, but it's final 3. I'm not gonna give an immunity away. I'm not going to do that. Genuinely, I think I've done the best job of everybody here, but it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the jury thinks. So we'll see if like enough people dislike me that they're not gonna vote for me. But I still know. I mean, I'm still gonna know how I played, but I would really like to win. I think if they take it objectively, I have a really, really good chance. If they don't, we'll see.
So if someone ever tells you to stand with a shovel for 13 hours, I don't recommend doing it, but that's just my hot take. Basically, I don't regret standing out there. Any previous confidence I had in my ability to do word puzzles is just completely gone now. Lydia is currently having her, she's debating sending Zach or Sabrina home. She's having a mental battle with that. I told her to just keep me updated. But of course, in the back of my mind, it's just like they're all gonna come for me. Because I think they don't believe that I played a good game. Which is hype for me because I have. So I shouldn't go home, but of course I'm scared. I will also be feeling bad for Sabrina if that's what we end up doing, but I as of now, I see her winning, so.
I've been thinking and thinking and thinking, and I'm beginning to recognize that despite all my very legitimate friendships that I formed in the game, and as much as I've tried to not, like really stab my friends or like my allies in the back, I haven't necessarily played this game nicely. In fact, I definitely haven't. I've always put my best interest first, and I'm just gonna have to own that. That said, that's what's been keeping me from thinking I need to take Sabrina, because it like breaks my heart to not take her, but like I've been leaning more and more towards not bringing her and just embracing the fact that I've been Madison brought it up. I've played really hard and I've played really cutthroat, and it is what it is. It's what I've done. It got me this far.
If things go my way, Sabrina is gonna go home. I think that as of now, me and Madison are definitely putting down Sabrina's name. Unfortunately, Sabrina is gonna vote for me, which I understand. Like, we talked and I said no hard feelings at all about it, because I think me, Lydia, and Sabrina all recognize that Madison is the easiest person to sit next to in the jury. I don't think she's just gonna get many votes. She didn't win any challenges. I don't think her social game was great. But that being said, it's Lydia's choice between Sabrina and me. And I can't read her mind. I told her when we talked, if, you know, no hard, same thing to Sabrina. I told her no hard feelings if worst comes to worst, you vote for me. And honestly, I would be okay with it at this point. It would just tell me that they saw me as the biggest threat to get jury votes. But realistically, I think that is Sabrina. I think Sabrina would get the most votes if she were on this jury. So, me and Madison are going to be putting Sabrina's name down. Sabrina's going to write my name down. And then the power's in Lydia's hands. Lydia could make it a 3-to-1 vote, or she could put my name down and put me and Sabrina in a challenge together. And that way, Lydia can say to the jury, oh look, I never broke my alliance with Sabrina. I was a loyal player till the end, which is awesome. But if there's a challenge, and I win that challenge, that looks great for the jury too. Same, it would work for Sabrina too if she won the challenge. So, big risk, big reward.
Okay, so today's the day of Final Four Tribal. I have talked to Lydia, I've talked to Zach, and I've talked to Madison. You know, there's the 4 of us left. So, I mean, me, Lydia, and Madison were already set on voting Zach, and I still am. The 3 of us are still set on doing that. I mean, I do feel bad, you know, we all made it so far, and it's just like to be that close, like it sucks, you know, but, you know, I made my pact with my ladies so long ago, and I want to stick to it because I've played a pretty loyal game, I think, and I think it's just fitting to finish off that way. But I cannot believe it's the end. I have to, I mean, I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed that no funny business was happening behind my back while all this was happening, like the 3 of us talking about voting out Zach. But yeah, we'll see a tribal.
There's like a 90% chance we're voting for Sabrina. I don't want to send them to a tie because I don't want them to have that to add to their resume. Like, if they go to a challenge and they have a challenge and then Sabrina wins, that looks great. Zach wants to go to the challenge so that he thinks he can win, and I think he can probably beat her too, but then he has that and that looks really good. He's like, oh, I earned my spot, and I need whoever I take to at least appear to be there because I want them to be there. As Spencer Bledsoe would say, no, I don't respect you for taking someone really good to the end. Someone who like could beat you to the end. You should take people who you think you don't have as good a chance if you want to win. Like, it's not a game move to bring your friend. It's a game move to vote them out if they have a good shot.
Coming in is your final 4: Madison, Sabrina, Lydia, and Zach. We are joined today by some of production and the jury on Zoom because unfortunately there has been a COVID outburst at the university, so we're making do with what we can. Before we start, I just want to congratulate each and every one of you guys for making it this far. Final 4 is a feat that only a few people in Syrvivor Syracuse history and Syrvivor College in general have a chance to actually call. That being said, all of you should be proud of how far you've made in this game, but at the end of the day, 3 of you will face the jury where the power moves in their hands and they will decide the winner of this season. All right, let's get straight into it. So, Zach, talk to me about the challenge. What did you guys have to do?
Well, we had to stand basically in place. You had about 6 feet to move around. You had to stay on your feet as long as you could, while also keeping a shovel off the ground with one hand. And it was just basically whenever you drop, you're out, going until there's one person left. And that took a lot longer than anyone expected.
True. Sabrina, how did it feel to just be standing there in one place, basically having, what, a 6-foot circle that you can move in, and just holding a shovel for as long as you can?
You know, people don't expect to be in a situation where they have to stand in, you know, a circle with a diameter of 6 feet and just hold a shovel. So it felt kind of surreal, I guess, just watching the moon go over our heads as we stood for a very long time.
Lydia, during that entire time, overnight pretty much, was there any like time where you just felt like, I'm losing it, I don't know what I'm saying at this point, my mind is going crazy, I just want sleep?
I think there were lots of moments where I think all of us were like, oh my gosh, I'm literally going insane. So yeah, definitely.
And Madison, the total hours, I guess, that we could say that you guys went for was the total time limit that I put on the challenge, which was 12 hours. That being said, 2 records were broken, 1 college survivor record where a challenge lasted 9 hours and 26 minutes, and 1 with the real survivor with lasting 11 hours and 50 minutes. That said, you guys lasted holding their shovels there past the college survivor record, so props to you guys. Madison, what does that say about your guys' season, knowing that it's only a Final Four challenge? It's not even a guaranteed win if you win the challenge, and all of you stayed there pretty much overnight.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show that we all wanted to be here, we all wanted to win. We all were there for what, like 9 hours at least, I think every single person. So I just think it shows the intensity that players are going with this season and what you gotta bring to be here.
Lydia, throughout the night, in 2-hour intervals, you guys had an opportunity to talk to each other one-on-one every 2 hours. In those times, did you get to talk strategy, not only about the challenge at hand, but maybe Final 3?
I mean, yeah, we all did, but I think we all kind of told each other the same thing. You know, you're gonna promise everybody whatever you have. You're gonna promise everybody Final 3 during that challenge, especially when, you know, especially when you want other people to drop so you can win. I'd say there was also a lot of trying to coerce, being like clear that you weren't about to drop, or that like maybe telling the truth, maybe lying about like how you were feeling to try to, I guess, like dampen other people's spirits.
Okay. Zach, you were fatally the first one out of that challenge by touching the opposite end of the shovel. How did it feel to be sitting there all night to go out that way?
One of the worst. I was so upset with myself, you know, just that I let that happen. But I mean, we were there so long, and like you said, we were all overtired, drowsy, losing our balance, not knowing what we were saying. So yeah, it happened. It sucks a lot, but I can't dwell on the past. I have to get over it, look forward, and keep playing the game.
Fair. Not 20 minutes later after, somewhat, Sabrina, you decided to drop your shovel and opt out. Talk to me and the jury about what the decision, why you made that decision.
So I had class in the morning that I was debating on skipping for this challenge, but ultimately I chose to go because I am paying tuition to go here. So at that point of the challenge, I think I just had to have trust in the people who are here and like really just try to, I guess, make myself vulnerable. Like it was like, I guess, a tough choice, but I think, I don't know, I hope I made the right one.
Okay. Madison, Sabrina and Zach basically left 9 hours and 30 minutes into it, yet you and Lydia stayed there for 12 hours. So an extra 2.5 hours, you and Lydia just standing there with shovels. Why do you think you guys stood there?
I think we both just wanted to win. I think we wanted to have the community necklace around our necks to be like, yeah, I'm going to be in the final 3. It's going to be awesome. In the end, it didn't work out for me, but I did walk 9.2 miles in at 6 feet across the circle, so at least that's an accomplishment.
Zach, with not being there for possibly Madison and Lydia's conversations during that time, do you feel like you missed out on something?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime you're not with your tribe, anytime you are somewhere else and the 3 people, you know, other people in the game are together, you could be missing out on something huge. I mean, I was just upset in general that I couldn't compete because I really think I would have stood the 12 hours. But yeah, of course, there's that aspect to it too. You know, when you leave, that leaves them to just talk without you. You have no idea what gets said behind your back at this point.
So Sabrina, echoing off what Zach said, you opted out 2.5 hours, and then Lydia and Madison stayed on there. Are you worried about what they could have talked about?
Well, I mean, there's always that paranoia, you know, like whenever you're not there for a conversation, you don't know what's going on. I mean, throughout the challenge, we were like like given every 2 hours the opportunity to talk, you know, with each other. Like the rest of us had to have our backs turned, and so it's kind of like the same in that scenario. It's just like you don't know what they're saying, and you don't know if that could affect like your game or not. So I think it really just all comes down to like once everyone is back to like square one, like not doing the challenge, you just have to do what you can do to get through.
Yeah. Now, Madison, talk to me about that deadlock challenge. So what you guys were planned to do, or tasked to do, was listen to a pretty lengthy story and then answer questions memorizing that story, and then after answering those questions, you had to do a word puzzle. How hard was that, especially you haven't slept?
Yeah, I'm used to sleeping enough, so it was definitely hard for me to just like have my usual mental capabilities to listen and then perform. As far as the listening and the questions go, when myself and Lydia both got all the questions right the first 5, so I think it was just came down to the word puzzle. Personally, I wouldn't have even called it like an active challenge, thankfully. I thank you, Luke, for that. But I just think, like, I don't know, at the end the word puzzle got me. I wasn't feeling up to my best.
At the end, it was very close. Lydia, fortunately, you came away with the immunity, guaranteeing your spot in the final 3. How does it feel, or how did it feel to be winning it after spending that much time and knowing that you'll be there buying your case for the end?
Yeah, it felt really nice to know I didn't stand there for no kind of reason. I do not like to stay up late. I really don't. I also don't like to get up early, so it was literally awful staying up that long. But it's just like, you know, there's like a little bit of stress. There's still stressful, but there's a little bit of stress that's gone because like I know everything I've done, including standing on the quad with a shovel in my hand for 12 hours, like got me someplace.
So basically that leaves Madison, Sabrina, and Zach up for elimination. Mine, Lydia, I don't think you're giving that away tonight. That said, Zach, how do you plan for this vote?
I think, honestly, the vote runs through Lydia. It was going to run through whoever won that challenge. I think, on Monday when I texted Lydia saying, you want to talk? And she just said, not today, no chance. We were all way too tired from that challenge. She said, no game talk until tomorrow. But, I think it's, at this point, you're just trying to secure yourself a spot, one of those 2 spots, and you'll do whatever it takes to get in.
Sabrina, do you agree with Zach that it necessarily does run through Lydia? Still, there's 4 people here. You could guarantee you could tie it with a 2-2 vote, but is that in itself dangerous because someone's basically winning their way to the end?
It could be, but it also like depends because, like you said, there are 4 of us left, so that leaves room for like different things to happen. I mean, Lydia's spot, in the final 3 is obviously secured, so there are 2 spots left, of course, but yeah, you just kind of, I guess at that point have, like Zach said, have to do whatever you have to do to get to the end and like put yourself in a position where you think you could possibly succeed.
Yeah, so with you playing with these 3 people at different varying points of this game, how do you determine who would be the best 2 to bring?
I feel like it's still really difficult. There's like, what you thought you would do like weeks ago, and then there's what you thought you would do like 3 days ago, and then there's what you would do now. Because you get to this point and you're like, wow, I guess I really do want to win, especially after, spending 12 hours standing on the quad. That said, like, I've been playing with these people for a long time, so like I know their games, like I know well enough, I know how my game pairs, at least in my head. But there's jury members who haven't been in the game for a really long time, so you have to think about that too and what the perceptions were at the time that they went out.
Very true. Now, Madison, how do you base your perception with the jury and also kind of balance that being, oh, Lydia, like, you should take me, you should probably beat me in the end?
Yeah, so I think my deal with the jury is I listened a lot, and I don't know, I think I got a good feel for a lot of different people's games. So yeah, that's tough to balance, but when you're in my position, like, you can't really be picky with who's beside you. It's kind of all running through Lydia right now, so I'm just kind of praying.
Now, Sabrina, how do you think this whole season should be summed up as? We've had countless blindsides, we have countless backstabs. Do you think the jury wants a person who's otherwise less controversial, or otherwise someone who's kind of just been there?
I think it can go either way.
That's a better question. Less controversial or more snaky? That's a better dichotomy.
I think it could go either way because, like, depending on like who's sitting in the jury, like maybe like someone played like a snakier game and is like looking for someone either snaky or like I guess less controversial. I think it really just all depends on like how that person pitches like their game in the end, because like, you know, it matters like how you got there and like how you got through all of that, but in the end, like, you really just ultimately have to sell it, because everything that the jury sees is like through what you say during that time.
Madison, do you think do you think you have a set plan for this vote, and do you think it has changed ever since you sat here on your seat?
No, I don't think my plan has changed since I sat down. I think I've known what I want to do for a while now. Yeah, and that makes me nervous.
And Lydia, how do you think this vote will determine possibly the end of the game? Because in the end of it, one of you four will have a jury vote and will vote for the other three.
Yeah, no, that's really scary, because I feel like, because I'm in the position of where I go no matter what, I'm not really at risk. I feel like no matter who it is, I just feel like I won't get that vote. I feel like they're going to get upset with me. And I hope that's not the case, but I guess we'll have to see.
All right. With that said, it is time to vote. Madison, you will be first.
It's been really fun working with you the last few weeks. You're a really cool guy. I think you made a good move flipping with us. I mean, I'm saying that kind of biasly, but you know, it's been great, and I think you did a really good job, but I'm sorry. I've had my final three for a while.
I hope you understand and take this as a compliment that you're a really good player. You might win this game if you get to the jury.
All right. For the last time this season, once the votes are read, the decision is final. The person voted out will be asked to leave tribal council area immediately. Remember, as said before, if the votes are tied 2-2, we will re-vote. If it is deadlocked, we will move on to a tiebreaker challenge. I'll read the votes. First vote. Zach. Second vote. Madison. Third vote. Sabrina. It's one vote Zach, one vote Madison, one vote Sabrina, one vote left. In fourth place, for the last member of our jury, Sabrina.
I am shocked. I'm really shocked. I mean, honestly, I was thinking about it. I was thinking if it would go through their mind that blindsiding me would low-key be a good move, because I think I've played a really good game. But I just can't believe it actually happened. You know, I'm kind of speechless, but I'm excited to hear what they have to say, and I'm definitely going to take this vote into consideration with what had just happened.
Hello, I'm in the final three. It does feel real good. I'm really excited. I can't wait to give my speech. But I wanted to vlog real quick because I just feel really bad for Sabrina. I feel like I feel bad for whoever was voted out every single time. But I don't know. I just feel like I would have been heartbroken if I went home fourth. I mean, jeez. Yeah, so I'm not expecting her vote. I don't really know who she'd vote for, but I think Lydia's whole deal with voting for me, so she didn't have to put down the Sabrina vote, I kind of want to call that out during my speech, but I don't know. I just think it's like classic Lydia, kind of skirting around the actual problem, but not particularly preventing it either. Like, by voting for me, she sealed Sabrina's fate, and it doesn't really make that much difference whether she voted for Sabrina or myself anyway.
So my game plan going into Final Tribal is make the people who, like, kind of had beef with me, but, like, never really got to know me, know how freaking cool I am, and make sure I, like, explain my game in such a way that I don't hurt the feelings of the people who, like, I didn't do wrong, but, like, gotta be careful that I'm not, like, oh, like, I'm, like, you were only here because of this, or, like, I don't care, like, I still did better than you. Because no one likes to hear that, even if it is true. You know, like, in terms of gameplay, I'm not that worried about Zach. In terms of gameplay, I'm not that worried about Madison. It's just I don't know that much about her game. And that stresses me out, but, like, I'm hoping that, like, if I don't know anything about her game, like, the rest of the jury doesn't either, and I feel like mine was, like, there is a lot that I did that was, like, kind of behind the scenes, like, a lot of not so nice manipulating and using and etc. And, like, it worked. Like, I'm sitting here right now. Yeah, but I just, like, I don't know what she's done, so I don't even know how to, like, attack that. I literally don't.
Final vlog. This is it. Last day. Win or go home. I am nervous out of my mind, but I'm also really excited because I think I have a shot, like a really good chance. I know, obviously, I have a 1 in 3 shot technically, but, you know, where we're at in the game, I'd be really surprised if people voted for Madison. She didn't win any challenges, she didn't make many moves. Maybe I'll be off, maybe she'll give the greatest speech ever and win a bunch of votes, but I really think this is a race between me and Lydia. I think me and Lydia obviously played better games than Madison, and I think our games are very comparable, so it could go either way. That being said, you know, I know in my heart that I played a great game. It was my move and my game that got me here with these people. I wasn't brought here. It wasn't luck. It wasn't a coincidence. It was because of the game I played, and it was the absolute smartest and best move I could have made, and that's why I deserve to win. I really hope I win. Yeah, that's so, I mean, we'll see. I've got a good speech ready. I just don't want to fuck it up. I'll be ready for their questions. I'm gonna be quick on my feet. You know, I think that's what it is, just being quick and smart. I don't, you know, it's not much about what you say, is how confident you say it. Wish me luck.
Hello, I'm here. It's the day of Final Tribal. I'm really nervous, but Luke wanted me to make a vlog about my plans for Final Tribal, what I'm going to be saying, and basically I view my primary threat as Lydia, but I'm going to make sure I speak my truth and also kind of reveal her as a possible person who has main character syndrome, and that might be a little bit spicy and salty, and I'm not really sure how that's going to be received, but I'm not saying anything too bad, so it should be fine. I also blocked Cassidy's vote because she's in the same sorority as Lydia, and Cassidy's the only person I did not talk to at all throughout the game, so yeah. I don't think I'm going to mention it unless Owen brings it up in one of his questions, but it will be used, and I used it to block Cassidy, so. But really excited to be here. I'm feeling good about what I wrote, what I will say, and I have a bunch of bullet points planned on what I'm gonna respond to with the questions. So here I am, Gussie in the back, Eeyore, Appa, the gang's all here. Here we go.
Lydia, Madison, Zach, 84 days in. You guys should be proud of yourselves. I am here to say congratulations to each and every one of you for making it to the final three, something that many few people in Survivor College and Survivor Syracuse alone had the chance to say. You guys should be proud of that you made it here no matter what happens today. Each of you all deserve to be here. I am fortunate enough to get to know each and every one of you through this game and outside of this game. Just to reference a few points, throw back to greed, throw back to the first day. Even with COVID, we still managed to do this season, and you guys were sticking with me through thick and thin, and you guys found yourself in the final three, so props to y'all. Just a week ago, all of us pretty much stayed there for like close to 12 hours overnight on the quad. Such a great bonding experience. I am happy for each and every one of you, no matter what happens, and I'm hopeful that you guys took away something in this game personally, as well as all of you had fun with this game, no matter what happens. That being said, tonight is the night that you make your case to the jury, and is the night that we crown our third ever winner of Survivor Syracuse history. Just a brief, how are you feeling? Zach, start us off. How are you feeling tonight?
I have peed so many times today. I am so nervous. You think that when you get to the final three, that's the fun part. Now but no, this is the most nerve-wracking part of the entire game. It just goes to show that Survivor is never easy. There's nothing easy about it, but obviously, like you said, I'm so proud of myself for getting this far. So no matter what happens, I'm just, like you said, I'm proud of myself.
Madison, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's just surreal to be here. I'm a huge fan of the game, so I've just enjoyed every moment of playing, and I love the people that I'm sitting in the final three with, so I think we're in for a nice finale.
Yeah. And Lydia?
I've actually been kind of emo for the past few days. I'm not going to cap. Just because, we started with so many people, and, we've gotten to know so many people, and now, there's three of us, and it's just so small. But, it's exciting to be here because, you say, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this when I play. And then to, actually be in the final three is, really awesome.
All right. Jury, I will now commence Final Tribal Council. Remember, the power is now in your hands. And here we go. Final Tribal Councils. You have your finalists, Zach, Lydia, Madison. Each of them have a prepared opening statement and closing statement, and each of the juror members have a question to answer, to pose to three or you individually. So we'll get started. We determined the order previously. For the opening statement, we will have Lydia start, followed by Zach, and then Madison. So Lydia, whenever you're ready, take us away.
Okay, so hi guys, I'm Lydia, you know me. Anyways, so during the 10th and 11th hours of standing on the quad, Madison tried to convince me to quit and give her immunity because the jury already thought I had played a super cutthroat game and I needed to show a more compassionate side. Obviously, I did not quit, I won, but those 12 hours gave me a lot of time to reflect on how I really had played the game. And I don't think I played a cutthroat game, I think I played a very intentional game. I worked really hard to balance trust and loyalty with subtle manipulation. I started making long game moves instantly, as well as a series of small maneuvers throughout the game that set me up for the big moves that ultimately got me to the final three. Week 1, I built a relationship with every person on my tribe. I wanted to make each of them think they were vital to my game plan and my #1 ally without ever explicitly saying it. I think I was fairly successful in that context, and I genuinely do think my social game was exemplary. And while the friendships I made throughout the course of the game are 100% legitimate, and I love all of you, I do think it's important for me to point out they were all created very intentionally. I didn't reach out to any of you the first time because I thought you were super cool, and I didn't start telling you all about my daily life because I have no filter. It was to make you all trust me. That said, despite working on my positioning, I didn't want to be the one calling the shots at the first vote, and I didn't want to appear to be a threat. Unfortunately, Sabrina became an early target. She had already approached me about creating a secret alliance, so I took a big risk and advocated for her hard. That initial risk clearly paid off, and Sabrina was incredibly loyal to me all game. Voting her out was actually the hardest choice I made all game. At the tribe swap, there was an interesting dynamic among the Mind people on New Body. We were a strong alliance of 4, but there were strange crisscrossing relationships at play that were preventing me from being as central as I wanted. Molly getting voted out was absolutely incredible for my game. I saw the hole it created and instantly stepped up to fill it. I solidified my place as Carl and Kevin's closest ally on New Body, literally stopping them from targeting the other. That's when I started working with the old body members as well, forming a 4-person alliance with Owen, Madison, and then also Carl. Not only was I instrumental in all decisions we made, I was also responsible for maintaining Kevin's vote and to a certain but lesser extent Joe's. We had long suspected Joe and Kevin would probably flip come merge, but I feel like I was the only person from the New Body Alliance who actually prepared for it. I'll admit my efforts were significantly less successful with Joe for reasons I genuinely don't understand, but I was extremely successful keeping Kevin attached to me. Even when I was angry and knew Kevin was lying straight to my face for weeks on end, I let him do it. I kept telling him how much I trusted him and building on the friendship we already had so he would hopefully think it was in his best interests and hopefully feel obliged to keep me in the game. It must have worked because it's my understanding that Kevin personally advocated to keep the vote off of me and point blank refused to write my name down even though he wasn't a competing alliance. Zach was a long game project of mine as well. I started building a relationship with Zach at the start of the merge because I had been told he was Lindsay and Ryan's pawn. I knew if I established any sort of connection with him once his spot in the new Soul lineup became clear, he'd naturally come listen to me instead. I even explicitly talked to Kevin and Sabrina about how I was going to pull Zach in a few weeks. I will acknowledge it was a combined effort between me and Sabrina to pull Zach, but after Zach was pulled, I personally called every vote, the most important being the Cassidy vote. I easily convinced Zach to vote out all of his former allies before voting out my singular former ally, Kevin. At Final 5, I was very comfortable, and if people started choosing Final 3s off of the strength of their relationships, I'm fairly confident every single person would have taken me. I think most everyone who was still in the game at Final 8 saw that I was the one in control on my side. Smart players try to pull weak players, and I was never seriously asked to flip. I was approached by Holly a few times to see if I could get my entire alliance to collaborate with her for a vote, but she was never looking to just pull me. I was a target the first vote of the merge and was targeted repeatedly after that as well. Considering the number of votes I got and the number of times I was the fake name, it's really impressive I was able to get here without using my idol. I chalk that up to my ability to hold on to my allies. Madison was repeatedly asked to flip and vote me out, but she consistently voted how I asked her to. Owen was asked to vote for me twice and didn't. Kevin refused to vote for me. Joe never voted for me post-merge. Sabrina never voted for me. I think my ability to pull Zach while leveraging my relationships with others, especially Kevin and Madison, to keep myself in speaks volumes for my social game. I consistently worked on my positioning and my long game through conversations I had and votes I called. I knew when to make moves and when to lie low. Being good at Survivor isn't just making big moves, it's setting yourself up to make big moves. I hope by the end of Tribal, you'll all be able to recognize and appreciate that I did both.
All right. Thank you, Lydia, for that opening statement. Jury, take that into your consideration. We are now moving on to Zach for your opening. Zach, you may begin whenever you're ready.
So first of all, I just wanted to thank all of you guys for a really, really great season. You guys were genuinely the best part of the worst year imaginable. So thank you for making this experience so much more than I thought it was going to be. What I want to do for you guys is just recap my game as quickly as I can and offer you insight into my thought process through every move I made. So for the first half of this game, my goal was playing a social game. I was in this game to make friends and just try and survive week by week. I got in a really strong alliance with Ryan, Linz, and Cass right off the bat. And like, let me tell you, we were top of the food chain, like absolute alpha shit. No one was messing with us. And it was awesome. We cruised through the first half for the most part, and I didn't have to make many moves. For the most part, you know, I was just going along with what Ryan, Cassidy, and Lindsay said. And, you know, it worked. It kept me in the game week by week. Post-merge, though, is where my game went downhill. I failed to reach out to a lot of you people once the merge hit, partly because I didn't have any of your phone numbers saved, and we were stuck with online challenges and tribal councils, so I couldn't meet you in person to ask for your phone number, but that's completely on me. The other big reason I wasn't reaching out to you guys is because at this point, I started to feel controlled by my alliance. I was kind of, you know, After Ryan got voted out and I started hearing my name pop out, I really felt out of control in my situation. It really, as Lydia said, I did feel like a pawn for my allies, and that's exactly what I was. That feeling was confirmed when all of you chose me as the least likely to win this game. That was biggest slap in the face, wake up call I could have had, because you guys are absolutely right. I had done nothing other than play a social game up until that point. I was just being used by better players than me for votes. Every week, someone would come to me with a name at the last minute, and that's who I wrote down. I wasn't involved in any decision-making processes. You know, I didn't get to offer my insider opinion. I just was told a name, and that's what I went with. So the strategy, it kept me in this game this far, but this is kind of when I realized I'm not going to win this way. I already knew that most of my allies were throwing my name around behind my back, but that's the game. I wasn't too concerned about it because, again, I was just playing week by week trying to survive. Once I took that step back and looked at the game big picture, I knew I was going home sooner than later if I didn't make a move. Best case scenario, I make final three and I only just sit there to make one of you look better. Like, I wasn't building a resume. I wasn't building a strong game. So given all of this where I was at, I knew I needed a change. I reached out to Madison and Lydia and Sabrina. I initiated the hangouts, kind of said, hey, let's get together, let's talk. And it was absolutely a mutual thing. Sabrina and I had been talking for a long time, and I felt really comfortable with her. But it was my, I was the one who drove us all to the apple farms where we talked. And it worked. Cassidy went home, then Lindsay, then Holly, then Kevin. I want you guys to know, above all else, it didn't feel good. It did not feel rewarding in any way to see any one of you get voted out. Like, I still just felt like shit. I felt an empty hit in my stomach just because you guys are all insanely good people. And I loved playing. You guys made me love playing in the game with you. But you're all also insanely good players. And I could not win with you guys still in the game. So at the end of the day, if I wanted to win, there was no chance I was going to do that with my original alliance. I was the fifth wheel who was just going to I wasn't going to make it to the final three. So I made the biggest move in this game and I flipped. There's no question that it was the biggest move. It completely tilted the game on its head. I felt awful and I still feel awful, but unfortunately it worked. I hate to say that. I got this far. I put myself in a position with the final three where my game outplays their games. If I had gone to the final three with any of Cass, Linz, Holly, Ryan, Kevin, I'd lose. But I got myself in an alliance where I'm like, I'm better players than these people. I can take them to the final three and I'll get the votes. I really hope you guys see this the same way. We'll find out, but thank you guys for listening. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
All right. Thank you, Zach. Jury, take that into consideration. We'll now move on to our last opening statement before questioning. Madison, take it away when you're ready.
Hi, I'm Madison. I played a game that I stand by. I know I lied to some of you, but not all. Lying doesn't come easy to me, and neither does making friends, honestly. Regardless, I had to do both of those to be sitting here. Throughout the game, one of my biggest goals was to make actual relationships with people and have fun throughout. I feel like I did that, and I definitely didn't believe I would be sitting here in the final three. From day one, I gravitated to the boys, something that makes sense knowing the majority of my friends are guys. I reached out to Jason and tried to build a strong alliance with him. If he had made it farther, I genuinely would have been so loyal. On day two, I asked Jason who else he got good vibes from. At the meet and greet, he said Mike. Mike was added to make a 3-person group chat. Week 2, when Body lost the challenge, we knew we needed a 4th person for numbers. I pushed for Owen. That's when King Owen was added to the gang. Additionally, I was trying to genuinely become friends with Joe despite knowing he appeared to be really close with Holly. Soon after that, I made a cross-tribe alliance with Adam, where we exchanged tea and I had the opportunity to learn about the workings of the OG Soul Tribe. At this point in the game, I was feeling real good. I felt like I had a background of people who I trusted and appeared to trust me. However, I was experiencing main character syndrome. Survivor is a crazy game. You can play to the best of your ability, but there are constantly so many moving parts. Taking total responsibility for multiple votes is just not possible. My example comes from the very beginning. I was feeling awesome, but Owen, Mike, or even Jason could have flipped on me and I would have gone home early. The reason I'm bringing up main character and or protagonist syndrome is because I think it is a perfect description of the majority of the game Lydia played. I do not know exactly what she is going to say. Now I do.
But if I had to assume, at the time I was writing this speech, she was going to list off her accomplishments and talk about the strong relationship she had and how she controlled both myself and Zach. Spoiler alert, she didn't, and that misconception shall be her downfall. I cannot speak to all of her relationships, but know for a fact that the post-first tribe swap, it was either her or Molly going home. And it was me that pushed for Molly instead, with King Owen by my side, of course. Only reason Lydia is still here is because I vouched for her on the week of the Molly vote, and Sabrina was able to pull Zach to our side post-Joe. Additionally, post-merge, even after Zach flipped, I was so close to genuinely working with Holly and Lindsay to vote her out because she was being so egotistical. That is why I felt so bad after Lindsay and Holly went home. I can't see how there is any way that is going to show that part of things is going to show up in her speech. Bottom line is she almost went home multiple times and I didn't. The one time I was about to, I played an idol. Plans changed, but it was supposed to be me instead of Joe. Sad boy hours when that happened. Anyway, also, let me set this straight. I did not tell Lydia to quit, and I will not let her put those words into my mouth. I just said I would be down to stand for another 12 hours, and Lydia had said she had to pee, so I was trying to save our time as we were both playing for our college education. Also, only reason she won was because the challenge was cut short, and I'm not a word puzzles person. My bad. So to wrap up, I, like the other two people sitting here, had accomplishments. If you would like to hear about mine, I do have a list and would be happy to read off of it. My two idols are a personal favorite of mine. I also performed well in both team and individual challenges, #BodyTribe. But I wanted my opening statement to resemble the game I played, and that is one of listening first and then thinking and talking about myself. No one knew the type of game I played that was evident when I got the superlative from Soul people of should have been voted out early, doesn't deserve to be here. That happened because at that point, all my closest allies were being sent home, and the numbers were not in my favor of people who really knew me. Laying low and navigating through that tough tribe swap is how I put myself in a position where I was safe and had the power to help decide how the game went. I also did not vote with her for Lindsay and Holly because she told me to. I did it because I knew I could beat her in the final three. My closing speech is going to be longer because once again, I want to listen to the things you guys say before I assume. I do this because I understand the game has so many moving parts, and I think it's stupid to rant for 5 minutes on assumptions you have on how the game revolved around you when it didn't. I believe I played a game with the perfect mixture of body, mind, and soul. I was not afraid to make big moves in relationships, talk heavy strategy, and most of all, play with my heart and soul. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Madison. That now concludes our opening statements portion. Now we will let the jury speak and ask questions to individual finalists or all three of them with an umbrella question. That said, we will now shift over to Ryan Baker. Ryan, you have our first question. You can talk a speech, pose the question. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, guys. I really enjoyed listening to hear all of what you said. I definitely have some insight on especially Lydia and Madison because I know we really, quite frankly, we never talked. I maybe talked to each of you once. So I would also like to make it a point. I have no bad blood towards anyone, and not that that should play a part in the jury, but inevitably it definitely does. So I think that in your eyes, just know that it makes me a very objective juror and that I, really listen to all those speeches. But my question for you guys is, what do you think is the strongest move that your opponents made? So Zach, for example, I would like you to say the single strongest move that you think Lydia made and the single strongest move you think Madison made, and vice, Lydia, Madison, and Zach. Madison for Lydia and Zach.
In a literal sense, they both beat me in the craziest challenge I've ever known to exist. So in that sense, that was probably like 12 hours is absurd to stand that long. But I think Lydia was very, very well planned from day one. She had a good strategy from the first day, and it got her this far. And I honestly might say the opposite for Madison. She was, Madison lost most of her allies, and she adapted, she survived, and there's something to be said that she didn't have many people to work with, but she got this far.
Thank you. Lydia, would you like to go next?
So Zach is very much Zach's best move was flipping and joining my alliance because I'm not convinced Zach would have gotten here if he hadn't. So I agree with him on that. For Madison, I would probably say pushing and being a part of that four-person alliance that we made on new body, like building that alliance, because she did end up losing some of her allies who had been on New Soul. And if she hadn't made the alliance with me, Carl, and Owen, like a separate four-person alliance, it would have been probably a different situation for her.
Okay, so I agree that Zach's, in my opinion, his best move was the flip, but more so than that, he didn't just flip, he also made the effort to like hang out with myself, Sabrina, and Lydia. That's something that I never really thought of because I'm just not that much of a social person. Like it wouldn't have never occurred to me, oh yeah, let me go apple picking with these people and that'll really establish an alliance. I think he's a really good social player. It goes with being on the Soul Tribe, I guess. And Lydia had lots of good moves. I think her best was voting out Sabrina. And I know that was really hard for her. And yes, I do believe she's played a cutthroat game, but I don't think anyone sitting in this final three would have been able to beat Sabrina, and Lydia's working with that and letting it happen kind of cleared the air for her, and I guess other people too.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Ryan, for that question. Jury, take that into consideration. Now moving on to our next juror, Lindsay. Lindsay, take the floor.
Hello, everyone. So obviously, this is not the outcome that would have been ideal for me. We've got a couple people here who wrote my name down multiple times. I ended up with like more than 20 votes. However, I think it's just a testament to the strong game that all of you played. So congratulations. With the exception of Zach, I think Zach kind of got here by riding coattails and then betraying the people closest to him at the end. So there's that. But with all of that said, what do you think was the move that you're proudest of in this game, and what is the move that you regret the most in this game? And I guess Madison, start.
Yeah, so I'll start with the one that I regret the most. I found two idols, and I honestly, like, kind of the last play was a waste of it. There were multiple times where I had the opportunity to save people who were really close to me, and I kind of like chickened out. Maybe that was for the best. I'm still here, but I regret not playing it for Owen. I also regret not playing it for Mike, but I think the big kicker, because I knew exactly how the vote was going down, was not playing my idol for Owen, because that would have given my side of things another number, and I don't know, I would have trusted Owen more than a lot of people who were still in the game at that point. And what was the other part of the question? What I did like?
The move that you're proudest.
Okay, yeah. The move that I'm proudest of, I'd have to say, just like working with and making relationships with you and Holly. I know it's up in the air, like people are saying that might not have been genuine, but for me it was genuine. And that was just really difficult for me because I'm not a social person. But I think just like even after all my allies got sent home, just continuing to not give up and keep on trying to make relationships with people.
Lydia, I guess.
Okay, so I'd say that what I regret the most is not playing my idol that very first tribal. Like I knew the votes were going on me. I knew Owen didn't have a vote, so I knew we were down one. But I thought Kevin trusted me more than he did, and he didn't tell me that he also did not have a vote. I knew he wouldn't have like written my name down that week, but I didn't know he didn't have a vote. So then when we tied, and you know, I could have done something about it. And Carl and I worked very closely for a very long time. It would have been such a different game if Carl hadn't been eliminated that week. Yeah, so I've regretted that. I was like punching myself. And then I guess what I'm proudest of was probably my long game relationship with Zach, because I really did start reaching out to Zach I picked Zach to reach out to on the New Soul Tribe on purpose, because I'd already gotten information from Sabrina that he was kind of just being used, kind of not a huge decision maker, I guess. And then like intentionally talking to him, even knowing that when I wasn't going to have a chance to pull him, being like, oh, like we're sticking with our alliances, cool, we're sticking with our alliances, and like setting that up so when the time came and he did start thinking for himself, he'd have someone to come to. And I like it's all laid out, and I feel like it looked really, I don't know, it just worked really well.
The thing I'm definitely the least proud of, it's not something I did, rather something I didn't do, was texting Cassidy after she got voted out. I don't know why I just didn't, I didn't have the balls to really. I felt awful, I didn't know if she wanted to hear from me, but I should have apologized. I just reached out and said, hey, I'm sorry, I had to do that. But at the same time, that flip is my proudest moment. I don't think I rode anyone's coattail after that flip. I chose to make that move. There's a reason I was on the right side of the last 7 or 8 votes in a row, because I was the one running the votes. So yeah, my proudest moment is making that flip.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay, for that question. Now we'll move on to our third juror, Holly. Take it away.
Okay, so before I start this, Maddie, I saved you week after fucking week, and then you used the fake idol on me, and it hurts so badly, but it's fine. It's a game. But as of right now, I don't think any of you truly deserve to win, but one of you will. So hopefully your answers to our questions will make me feel confident about voting for someone. You guys have all betrayed me in different ways. However, it is very impressive that you all made it here, so I congratulate you all. From my perspective, the use of the fake idol was just so pointless. Like, I knew that I was going home. I was mentally prepared for it. You guys had the numbers, and I was ready to go home with absolutely no resentment and no hard feelings. But instead, I'm pissed off, and I don't want any of you to win. So to me, using the fake idol was just mean and terrible gameplay. So this is a question for all of you. What was your involvement in giving me the fake idol? And do you think it was a good move or not? And why? And we can just go Zach, then Lydia, then Maddie.
I had no idea that idol existed. They will should attest to that. I had no clue that was coming. When you played that, I thought it was a real idol, and I was ready to go home. So, and I think I've said before, I don't agree with that move. I'm not involved with it, so I don't want to get too passionate about it or anything, but I agree with everything you said, Holly. You knew you were going home. There was no benefit other than just to give you false hope. I'm sure that was no one's intent. They were just trying to make a move, but I don't think it was a good move.
So when that idol was initially made, so weeks ago, weeks before that happened, I am the one who initially made it after Madison found it because she let us know. And then after you won immunity, she went and picked it and gave the clue to Cassidy. Madison and Sabrina went and picked it up because they got anxious because Madison had misplayed the actual spirit idol. And then I disagreed. I thought they should have left it. But then later on, Madison, after you lost, Madison had decided to give you the idol. And the fake one, and she told me about it. And genuinely, I thought it was like a dumb thing to do. It didn't accomplish anything. Like, we had the numbers. That's why I kept telling you that the votes were going on you. I didn't stop her, and that is on me. Because I didn't think it was a nice thing to do, but I just figured I just let it be. I thought it didn't affect anything, so I just didn't think enough about how that would make you feel as a person, and I'm sorry about that.
All right, yeah, so I'm the big player with this question, and I accept responsibility. I knew as soon as it happened, honestly, as soon as I gave it to you, it was a mistake, and I wasn't comfortable with the whole deal from the beginning. I didn't even want there to be, in general, a fake idol, but Sabrina and Lydia were really excited about it, even before there was any notion of giving it to a person, so I wasn't gonna shoot that down. So let's walk it through. It's not as simple as just me giving it to you. I am the main proponent of it. I think it was a stupid move. But the whole reason this came into being was at the time I felt really bad about Lindsay, and post-tribal council, I had a real idol, and I felt really bad about that. And I was honestly, I'm going to give her my real idol. So it wasn't even a deal with, right from the get-go, I lied to you immediately. I had the genuine intention of giving you my real idol, but once my emotions like calmed down, I knew like that would have just been a really stupid move also for me. So I lied, and it was a really stupid move, but from the get-go, like it wasn't always intended to be a lie. And also, Lydia, I don't know why she said that. Literally, we were on a FaceTime and the fake idol broke, and she wanted it. She also was supportive of me giving it to you, so much so that she fixed it and then gave it back to me, and then I gave it to you 20 minutes after. So it's not all me. Like, it was a team effort. The only person that should not take like responsibility was Sabrina. Sabrina just knew I was giving it to you, and that's it. Though she didn't say no, but like she didn't make it. But yeah, I'm sorry. Stupid move. I honestly think I would have given you the real one if not for you kind of having a place in voting out every single person that I was closest with. but yeah, I'm sorry, and I forgot to say that when Lindsay asked the question what my biggest regret was, because it's that.
All right. Thank you, Holly, for that question. We are now moving on to the fourth juror, Cassidy. Cassidy, take it away.
Hi, so congratulations on making it to the final 3. It's a big accomplishment. Obviously, I don't agree with all of your gameplay, but it's still, you should still be proud of yourselves, and like it is a game, so like no hard personal feelings. So some moves, so all of you have some moves in the game that have been perceived as controversial. Specifically, Zach, you pretty much sat on your hands the entire game and chose your big move to be voting out 2 of your biggest allies. And Maddie, you gave Holly a fake idol even though she already knew she was going home. With this being said, obviously these moves did get you to the final 3, which is something that you should be really proud of. But my question to all of you is, what's the biggest lie you told during the game, and how would you justify it? So, Zach, do you want to go first?
The biggest lie I definitely told was to Lindsay the day I voted for Cass. She FaceTimed me, and she said to me, she was really conflicted because she didn't know if she'd rather win this game by betraying people or just lose and stay honest in the whole game. And I looked at her and I said, I feel the same exact way, which clearly wasn't true because I was planning at that time to flip and vote Cass out. I want you to know it wasn't a complete lie. I felt that way for a really long time. And that was the biggest conflict, whether or not I should flip because I cared about you guys so much as friends. But, I stand by the decision. And I genuinely think that was the only lie I told the entire game. But yeah, that was definitely a bold-faced lie.
I could go next. Yeah, definitely for me, it would be the fake idol play. I kind of addressed it before, but I had the original intention for it to be the real one, and that would have been the move. But Holly just had a lot of friends on the jury, and no one would have beat Holly, even if Sabrina, in my opinion, was still in the game. I feel like it would have been a landslide. So I had to go through with it. I wasn't comfortable with it, but I take responsibility for it. It happened, and I truly am sorry. But the original intention was for it to be a real idol, a real play, and I didn't do it. So I had to cover my bases.
I think the biggest lie I told, at least strategically, was when I told Kevin that we were all voting for Lindsay and not you, Cassidy. I knew if I told Kevin that we were in fact voting for you and not Lindsay, and he thought like the numbers were there and was all confused or whatever, that I knew that Holly would have used her advantage and done anything, to like try and save you. And that was one of the first times I like had really lied to Kevin all game. So that was a big deal. And if you guys hadn't split your votes and Kevin had been willing to vote for us because he knew we were gunning for you, I don't think I'd be here right now.
All right. Thank you, Cassidy, for that question. We're now moving to our next juror, halfway there. Kevin, take it away.
So some people may consider me a villain, but because of all the mean things that I've done, a lot of you came for my neck whenever I did anything, but didn't even bat an eye when it was your turn to do the same. So I don't think anyone here is a saint, but I'm glad that I'm seeing a lot of you own up to like the decisions and the moves that you made. I do want to say congratulations to making it to the final three. That's an amazing accomplishment. Super proud of all of you. Personally, I'm not really sure if I think any of you deserve the title of Sole Survivor, but regardless, one of you will be getting my vote and one of you will be the winner of this season. So that being said, this is a question for all three of you. Like, if it wasn't going to be you, who do you think deserved to win this game? And that can be someone in the final three with you, post-merge, pre-merge. Also, side note, I'm so sorry. Love all of you, regardless, like friends-wise. Sorry. Hey.
Love you too, Kevin. Yeah, so I'm kind of going to give two different answers. I think our final four would have been really interesting with Sabrina, Lydia, myself, and Zach. I think in that circumstance, Sabrina would have and deserved to win kind of by a landslide. Overall in the game, my winner would be Holly. Even after she got rid of most of my allies, I still felt genuinely bad when I started going against her. And I just grew to really appreciate her as a person. So that just goes to go that she was strategic. She was amazing socially, and she won so many challenges. Like, she was like the impersonation of Body, Mind, Soul. So I think she would be the winner.
Was I next, right? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So I would, if it weren't me, I think Sabrina is the obvious choice. I think Sabrina was a really good choice. Sabrina was a very honest person the entire game. She didn't backstab anyone. She was genuinely a threat in most of the challenges. So with her being at the final four, I would not feel confident at all if she got into this final three instead of Lydia and Madison. So yeah, that's my pick.
I would also pick Sabrina. Sabrina and I worked very closely together for a very long time, and actually I had every intention of bringing her for most of the time we were working together. But I guess around the tribe swap time, she really started to come into her own as a player, and she just did so well. Everybody liked her. She was, helping make decisions about who was going to be voted out, but without appearing to be the person in charge, when she really was having a strong say in everything that was going on, and remained so non-controversial. I feel like me, Zach, and Madison did stuff that makes a lot of different people kind of upset, and Sabrina really didn't do any of that stuff.
All right. Thank you, King Kevin, for that question. Just to reference the numbers, we have 3 mind, 3 body, and 3 soul in the jury, and your final 3 is a mind, body, soul. So with that said, we will go to the next juror member, Joe. Joe, take it away.
I just want to say, congrats to all 3 of you. I'm really sad that I didn't get to know Zach too much. Still a cool dude, stand by it. But yeah, so anyone that did work with me, I always say a bunch of stupid things. One of them's being a big brain. So my question's pretty simple. Survivor is a very competitive game, and you need to be making big brain plays the entire game to get to the position that you are at. So I'd say strategically, what was the biggest big brain play that you made in the entire game?
I mean, I'll go first again. I think my answer is a little obvious. It's the same thing I've been talking about, so I'm not going to, harp on it for too long. But, just know that wasn't, I didn't go from riding coattails to riding coattails. I went from the bottom of an alliance that was crumbling down on top of me to the top of the new majority alliance. It was, I was running that alliance as opposed to my old alliance where I was hardly even being queued in. So yeah, that was my biggest move, my biggest brain move.
I can, all right, I'll just go real quick. I think for me, the move that defines big brain was the Molly vote. With that, Owen can attest to it as well. There was just so many moving parts. There was the fact that we couldn't rely on your vote, Joe, because you were so close to her and we had to keep you in the dark, which sorry about that, but she would have seen it coming, and I didn't know Lydia had the idol. She could have played the idol. There was lots of different votes happening, and it was new relationships. So you had to counter in how close you were to people, how much you could rely on them. And
I honestly think if Molly had made it farther, she could have been the winner as well. I just think she socially was set even then. So I think it was important that she went home. So big brain.
I would say mine is probably pushing for Cassidy to get voted out. It was supposed to be Kevin on that vote because me and Sabrina had decided that that was probably the easiest way to pull Zach. If we were like, okay, we'll like sacrifice Kevin. I really didn't want Kevin to go because in my head, you know, like getting rid of Cassidy, that got Holly was safe. So that got rid of someone who was always going to vote with Holly. That got rid of someone who would never take me to a final three. That got rid of someone who could potentially pull Zach back away from us. And by getting rid of Cassidy, I feel like I moved up in two different people's standings. I wasn't convinced that Kevin would end up taking me to a final three instead of Cassidy. So if she was gone, then I'd like put myself in a better position. If Cassidy was gone, I wasn't convinced Zach would take me instead either. So like if she went, then I moved up in two people's lineups as opposed to one person's or no one's, and then it just like went from there.
All right, thank you, Joe. Moving on, your fourth place finisher, Sabrina. Sabrina, take it away.
Just want to, I guess, start off, even though I'm kind of still butthurt. Congrats on making it to the final three. You all, you know, obviously did a lot to get here. It's a really tough thing to do, and you guys did it. So the question that I'm about to ask is more directed to Lydia and Madison, because a few weeks ago, like when Madison initially came to me to go into a final three, she was kind of wary about bringing Lydia because she thought that they had very similar games. So my question is, what is like the biggest difference, I guess, between your strategies?
So I think I strategically at that point when we had that conversation, I felt that the fake idol thing hadn't happened, so I thought I was more likable to the jury. So Lydia would have, if jury members were going for straight strategy, Lydia would have it. And I also thought, as far as Lydia went, I didn't really trust her at that point. I thought there was, if she saw me as a threat, I would be next to go. And I think in the case that actually ended up happening, you, Sabrina, were the person that Lydia decided was the biggest threat. And that's kind of like what happened there. But I just think I listened a lot and I decided to play after trying to figure out all the moving parts first, instead of just going right in.
I would say that I also put a lot of thought into everything I did, but I feel like Madison like made some moves that like could have been big moves, or like, but like didn't necessarily, not to like be like, oh, but like didn't necessarily pan out, versus like I like to make sure that everything in my game was set up and made sure I had a lot of different options. You know, like I made sure that Kevin was gonna, you know, still like be friends with me and still want to talk to me, even if like we weren't working together anymore. I made, like, I still talk to Joe, I talked to Holly, I talked to literally everybody. Yeah. And I feel like, yeah, Madison had like different people voted out, so she did have to like start over in a certain, I guess, like in that, like from that point of view, she did have to start over, so she didn't have that opportunity to just like keep using relationships she's already built. But
could I just add a quick thing or no? I don't know the rules.
Yeah.
Sorry?
You can, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to add one more thing. What I meant to say, but I don't think it came through, like I was calculated in who I talked to. I think in the beginning I was more along the lines of Lydia, where I tried to talk to anyone, but after everyone got sent home, I started getting sad. So I started being more calculated. And if I was talking to a person, I wanted there to be some sort of end game instead of just talking to them to make them feel better.
All right. Thank you, Sabrina, for that. Now moving on to our second last juror, Owen. Owen, take it away.
All right. So first and foremost, of course, congrats to all of you for making the final three. You know, good job. You all made different decisions that led to you getting to this point in the game. Now, me being voted out fairly early on in the merge, I couldn't really get a sense of the power dynamics later on in the game. And so my question is this, because I got to bring this full circle. Can you look me in the eyes and tell me that without Cap, that you were the master of your own fate? Or were you simply carried on the backs of people who were really calling the shots? Because I don't think I or really anyone on the jury wants to vote for someone who's a pawn rather than a king. So, yeah, Lydia, did you really bond with all those people? Madison, were you really the main character? Zach, did you really initiate that trip to the apple farm? Why don't you start us off, because people were kind of laughing at you during your opening statement.
No cap. I played the best game here, and I got myself here. I was carried along for a long way, but when I made that flip, that was me making that move, and it brought me here. Absolutely zero cap.
I got you, Owen. No cap. I believe that I am the master of my own game. I may not be the main character, but I think no one is the main character in Survivor unless you're like Tony or Russell. But basically, I think the relationships I had with people and the base that I set up before the merge even set me up. So I had strings that I could pull at, and I'm not the puppet master by any means, but I was just enough where I am sitting here, and I got here without a lot of people knowing that I played a really good game.
No cap. I think I got myself here. Like building relationships on purpose is part of the game. Like it's what you do. Like you can't, I don't know, like you can try and win everything, but it's not going to happen. So you need to have people. And I think I very much did have people. I think I very much was calling a lot of the shots, especially after you were voted out, Owen. Yeah, no cap.
All right, thank you, Cap King Owen. Great question. Now our last jury question coming from Carl.
So first of all, I want to say congratulations to all three of you. Certainly, I wish I could have been there at the end, but I think one of the biggest things I learned is that sometimes you get unlucky. This game, as much as we all want control of it, sometimes doesn't go our way. And so my question for all three of you is, what was your lowest point in this game? What was the spot that you had to dig yourself out of? And how did you come from there? And how does that show why you are the strongest player and you deserve to win this game?
So I can start off. I had a couple bad weeks in there. So my first big boy that went home was Adam, and then Jason, and then Mike, and then you, Carl. And little break with Ryan, bless him, but then Owen and Joe. So that was like a really, really bad time for me all in a row. I gradually, 1 week at a time, kind of thought I saw my game falling apart. Everything I had set up just did not go to plan. It all was thrown in the trash. So I had to work with other people. I had to make friends with females. And that is, I just had to adjust. And I think of the people sitting here, I think I have the most people that I have really close bonds with. Again, I can't speak to that for sure, but I think I have the most people, not even on the jury also, of just really close friends being voted out real early.
Yeah, so I think my lowest point was the moment after Ryan got voted out. I had absolutely no idea that was coming. I was going into that tribal council with a lot of confidence. And so when that happened, I was just dumbfounded, speechless, shocked. And over those next 2 weeks, I really put myself in an even deeper hole by not building my social game with people I didn't know, by just, falling into this character of a pawn for Lindsay and Holly and Cass. But obviously, I dug myself out of that hole by getting to know some other people, finding people who I felt I was working with better and who I could better sit myself next to in the final three.
I would say mine was when Owen got voted out. Like I knew it was coming. I knew he was about to get voted out, and I also knew that with an idol I could have saved him if I wanted to. But then where would we have been? It would have been a similar type of situation. So it was really horrible for me to sit there and let it happen. And then, after he was voted out, I had already been a target. I was like, man, I'm next. I have my idol. I have 1 week, 1 vote, and then I'm done. But then I like won a challenge and I was able to move some stuff around. Finally, like was able to pull Zach after working on that for weeks. And then everything went my way after that. But I did so much. No, that was really frustrating.
All right. Thank you, Carl. That now concludes the question part of our final tribal council. Take a deep breath, everyone, jury and final three. Final three, this is now the last time you'll get to speak and show your case before the jury votes. So say whatever you want to say here. This might be the last time before we determine a winner of this game. So in reverse order, we will start with Madison, then Zach, then Lydia. So Madison, whenever you're ready, start us off.
I'm going to try and go through this a little bit slower. I feel like I got flustered during the first one and spoke too fast, but I was really nervous basically throughout the entirety of the game because it's a social game and I'm not a social person. I have friends, but they're mostly guys, but here I was in a final 9 with mostly ladies. So I survived regardless, even with my biggest fears, however weird that might sound. But I also played loyal. I was loyal to Adam, Jason, Mike, Owen, Joe, Carl, and Lydia. That's 7 people, and after a certain point, you are going to run out of promises that can be kept. I also, up until the last vote, I was also loyal to Sabrina. But I spoke to people where necessary without being obnoxious and telling the other person I would work with them early when I wouldn't. This is, of course, prior to when Joe went home. I'm not going to lie, when Joe went home, I definitely snapped. I never was truly comfortable with the fake idol, but it happened. And again, I'm really, really sorry. But I don't think I played dirty and lied a lot until after Joe went home, and he went home 13th, I think. So no one really knew the game I played. That was evident when I got that superlative from that one challenge of should have been voted out early, doesn't deserve to be here. I do deserve to be here. I'm a senior. You're not going to find me in a sorority anytime in the near future, but I truly believe Syrvivor is an awesome club that I belong to, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. All things aside, this semester was unbelievably hard for me. I'm not trying to play like pity card, but it goes to show how much I care about the game and wanted to play even after I lost my grandmother a couple weeks in. And my entire family had the opportunity to bond together over this game of Syrvivor, and it brought my sister and I a lot of happiness during a really dark time. And whenever I was super down, I always had Syrvivor and Avatar: The Last Airbender there for me, and I'm really grateful for that. So that being said, I will respect whatever decision you guys make, and honestly do not know if I would have been able to get through this semester without playing this game. So thank you for keeping me in, and it was an honor to play alongside each and every one of you. So thank you once again.
Thank you, Madison. Jury, take that into consideration. Now, Zach, your turn for your closing remarks.
So I'm going to try and keep this short because I've said all I need to say. You guys know why I did what I did. I stand by it. I'm really proud of the game I played. If you had told me on day 1 I'd be in final 3, I wouldn't believe you because I don't have confidence in myself like that. But I got here one way or another. That being said, the game's not over, and I do believe I deserve to win. The move I made was the biggest move in the game, and there were a million ways it could have fucked up. There were a million ways something could have gone wrong, and I wound up going home. But I made sure nothing went wrong. I was in charge of all the votes after Cass went home. I was kind of running the ship, and that's how I turned things around for myself to get me here. The motto of Syrvivor is outplay, outwit, outlast. I'm not going to pretend like I outplayed any of you. I was terrible at most of the challenges. The only 2 challenges I got, I owe half the credit to Lindsay and half the credit to Lydia. I did not outwit anyone. I played my idol at a stupid time. I literally won one of the challenges by playing rock, paper, scissors. There's no wit to that. But what I did do is outlast. I outlasted the best players in this game, and now they're all in the jury, and I'm sitting next to 2 players who I had a better game than. If I was sitting next to anyone else, Cass, Linz, Holly, Sabrina, Ryan, I wouldn't win, any one of you. But I put myself in a position where I can win this game, and I hope you see it the same way. Again, thank you all for an amazing season, and once this COVID bullshit's done, we're all getting drunk at my place.
Thank you, Zach. Last but not least, Lydia, finish us off.
Yeah, so mine's gonna be short as well, but I do hope all of you were able to see the ways I pulled strings and set myself up to be sitting in the final three throughout the whole game. I think a lot of you, like on the jury, were and are very strong players, and I'm so glad I got to play with a lot of you, with all of you. And like honestly, I'm glad that you're not sitting next to me because I'd be terrified to be sitting next to honestly most of you. But I would say out of the people sitting here next to me, I think I really showed that I did the best job, I guess. And I hope all of you think that too and vote for me.
All right. Thank you. Once again, final three. That commences our final tribal council. Now the power fully shifts into the jury's hands. Each of you have the power to cast your one vote for who you think deserves the winner and the crown of Sole Syrvivor for season 3.
So for me, the winner of this game that I will be voting for comes down to a matter of respect. I have made it pretty clear that I've lost pretty much all respect for Zach. He was really weird to me at some of the early stages of the game, just frankly kind of creepy. I was aligned with him out of convenience and out of his loyalty to me, but obviously he let that go in a big way, in a way that I think is not in any world reconcilable.
Okay. In honor of Final Tribal, I'm using my previous advantage to write down Zach's name. I think his answers to the questions were great and genuine, and he truly did pull himself out from the bottom of the food chain to the top, and I'm proud of him, and I think he deserves it. So, yeah, congrats, Zach.
I honestly, this is a really hard decision, but I'm going with the person who I think really was calculated from the beginning, and obviously all of her moves were not good for my game, but I think that she in the end stuck to her values the most, and she was calculated, she was determined, and she did what she needed to do to make it to the final three.
I truly don't know who to vote for. They all gave really compelling speeches, not gonna lie, and they gave me a lot to think about. I'm gonna have to go with Lydia because I do think she played the better game. I think she's been 20 steps ahead at all times. So if you have my vote, use that $100 wisely.
But this was extremely difficult because I felt like in all the speeches, not a single person tried to sell me on anything. I think Lydia mentioned how she had no clue what was going on in my head. I mean, I don't either, so that's fine. Zach never talked to, ever. So, zero experience. I know he had a cool Halloween costume, put it on my list of, reasons why to vote people, why not to. And then I think Maddie, she's a good person. Didn't like the approach she did, which is kind of like a pity vote type thing. I don't know. Felt bad that her biggest regret wasn't saving tears.
I never thought I would write your name down because I thought I would be sitting with you for but I guess this is an exception for actually writing your name down. Congratulations.
Well,
there was a lot of ways this season could have gone, but I'm really proud that there's a mind to represent us at the end. I think she played a great game, so my vote goes to Lydia. Congratulations, and I hope that there's a lot of other people who agree with me.
Even though we were in the middle of chaos, COVID, everything, all odds against us coming into the season, we somehow defied all odds and managed to get this season underway in person, on Zoom, virtually, not virtually, whatever you have it. We had a great season, probably the best season in my opinion. One of the best casts, great dynamics from the first vote to this last one. I can't thank anyone more than you guys, the cast, as well as the e-board. Thank you guys for an amazing season, and no matter what happens today, you guys should all take something away from this game that you should be proud of. With that said, 84 days in, we have our votes casted and they are counted for. Before reading the votes, in Syrvivor Syracuse, there's always a twist. Some of you may notice that there are 9 jury members. In this case, there could be a tie of 3-3-3. So, planted within the game at the auction challenge was the MBS advantage. To recap, the MBS advantage was first attained by Owen, and then once Owen departed, was given to Madison. The MBS advantage allows the person who has it at Final Tribal Council to block one jury vote. The jury vote block had to be casted before Final Tribal. So, in this case, Madison had to use it before even talking to the jury, before the jury even made any questions. In this case, Madison decided to use the MBS advantage. I will now read aloud the vote that she blocked. The MBS advantage negated this vote. The vote, Lydia. 1 vote Lydia does not count, which means there are 8 votes left, and within these 8 votes, we have a winner. Without further ado, for the last time for Syrvivor Syracuse Season 3, I'll read the votes. First vote, Zach. Lydia. 1 vote Zach, 1 vote Lydia, 6 votes left. Zach. Lydia. 2 votes Zach, 2 votes Lydia, 4 votes left. 5th vote. Lydia. Lydia. That's 4 votes Lydia, 2 votes Zach, 2 votes left. And the winner of Syrvivor Syracuse Mind, Body, Soul, Lydia. Lydia, congratulations. You have won Syrvivor Syracuse Mind, Body, Soul, granting you the 3rd ever Sole Syrvivor in Syracuse history.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who voted for me, and thank you everyone who's my friend. Also, like, I know a bunch of you had like goals when they asked in the interview like what your goals were, and genuinely this was the only goal I listed, was winning. So I am literally beyond happy. I didn't care if I did anything else as long as I won. So I'm just like so pleased, and I'm like so happy that I joined the club and that I got to meet literally every single one of you.
Thank you, Lydia. With that said, we had an amazing season with 21 cast members, 18 new, 3 returnees. Through COVID, through everything, we managed to come away with the season. Lydia, congratulations. You are our 3rd ever Sole Syrvivor. Madison, Zach, congratulations to you too. Even though it's not the outcome both of you hoped for, you still have something to be proud of. And that goes for everyone, wherever you placed. With that said, everyone watching at home, I will see you guys on the next season of Syrvivor Syracuse. Peace.